Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the HEDDphone Two, and these are my Honest Audiophile impressions. I want to thank Wave Theory for providing the HEDDphone Two for review. Do greatly appreciate it. Wave Theory, you rock. If you haven't already checked out reviews by Wave Theory's YouTube page, please head on over there. Check out the link that is somewhere here on the screen or down below. And if you haven't already subscribed to them, subscribe and tell them I sent you. Alright, so the HEDDphone Two. This will set you back $2,000 from your bank account, and it is a AMT driver open back over ear headphone. AMT, air motion transfer. I'm going to put a link somewhere on the screen and down in the description for Head Audio, and let the experts explain exactly what AMT is and how it works and all that kind of stuff, because they'll explain it a whole lot better than I can. So check out the link down below or somewhere on the screen. So the HEDDphone Two, it has AMT full range VVT technology, a frequency response range of 10 Hertz to 40 kilohertz, 41 ohms of impedance, and 89 decibels of sensitivity. The HEDDphone Two weighs 550 grams, and it comes in this massively huge box. Specs on the back, picture on the front, and then here on the side it says HEDDphone Two, engineered for professionals and anyone who is serious about sound. Taking the sleeve off, and you're greeted by a big huge black box that says accessories and HEDDphone Two. The accessories that are included, pull that out here, look like this. So you get a pair of stock replacement pads, and then two different cables and some adapters. The cables are 2.2 meters long, and you get one that is single-ended that terminates into a 6.35 millimeter, and then you get one that's balanced that is terminating into 4.4. And that cable looks like this. It is Kevlar infused and braided. Here's your termination for 4.4. And then it's 3.5 inputs into the headphone. It does have some lettering for left and right. I find that the cable they're okay. It's not my favorite. They kind of have this kink, twist, tangle problem, and it just kind of is a nuisance. It's not really that great of a cable. It never loses its true kink. It doesn't like lay flat. It's not the most well controlled and behaved cable, but it works. Head Audio also includes two adapters, so you have a 4.4 to XLR adapter, and then a 6.35 to a 3.5 millimeter adapter. The pads are angled, faux leather. They're nice and squishy, and they have enough size to go around pretty much any ear. I had no issues with them fitting. These pads are identical to the ones that come installed. And then the other box, which says HEDDphone Two, includes a carrying case, which is rather large. You have a faux leather handle here, and then hard shell, little bit of a step so that your case isn't laying directly flat on its cover. And then you have the Head Audio design, and it's a nice case, a little bit on the big side, but not too bad. Opening it up, and you have cutouts for your headphones where they will lay, and then you have this little carrying pouch for accessories. I do wish that the carrying pouch locked in place, as it just kind of flaps open, and if you don't have anything in the case, it will open up and spill out, so just be careful with that. Overall, nice carrying case, so very well built and will protect the HEDDphone 2 very well. Speaking of the Head Audio HEDDphone 2, they are large. 550 grams of weight. They are hefty. They're on the clunky, chunky side. You're never really going to forget that you have headphones on when you're wearing the HEDDphone 2. You have a faux leather headband, faux leather pads that are removable. You just pull them off. And you can see the driver, and then you just kind of press them down and they just click in place. You have some branding, L and R, very legible so you know which side is which. And the unique thing about these, other than being big and just kind of clunky, is the suspension strap is kind of odd to adjust. You have these different holes on a leather strap that you just pull up and you slide it accordingly to make it fit on your head. It takes a moment or two to adjust, but once you get it in place, you don't have to adjust it again. Nice swivel and nice up and down motion, giving you plenty of adjustments for whatever type of size head you have. Once they're on, they are rather large. You get the halo effect, and they kind of have a clamp force to them. It is a little bit on the tight side, and it didn't matter what adjustment here I had. The clamp was there. I got it to where it was somewhat comfortable. I find that the HEDDphone 2 is not the most comfortable for me. Obviously, noise isolation is not very good. These are being open back. You can pretty much hear anything around you, and people standing around you can hear what you're listening to. You do not have to take them off to carry on conversation. You may have to pause the music though, depending on how loud you listen. The headphone termination is here on the bottom, cable termination is on the bottom there. And then I find that when you put them on your head, you do get some driver flex, and you can hear a little crinkling noise when you touch them. If you adjust, it can be a little bit annoying and discombobulating a little bit, but just don't touch them once you have them adjusted and you're fine. You can hear that when you're playing music if you happen to adjust your headphone. Comfort wise, I was able to wear them 45 minutes to an hour before that clamp force and the weight just started getting to me, and I'd have to take a break. Over time, listening several hours throughout a day with intermittent breaks, I did start getting neck fatigue, and they really do start hurting and just not being comfortable. I really can't wear the HEDDphone 2 for an extremely long time. The Head Audio HEDDphone 2 is not the easiest headphone to drive, being 41 ohms and 89 decibels of sensitivity. It is rather source picky. Portable devices, dongles, and DAPs, you can get away with listening to them. For the most part, you'll get them up to volume, but they're not really going to drive the HEDDphone 2 to its potential. And it's more recommended by me that you use a desktop setup, whether that be a DAC and amp similar to what I have back here, or a audio interface that you would be using, something like an Allen and Heath QU24 or something like that. But if you're trying to use these as portable, it's not really a portable headphone. It is made to be for the working man or girl. The Head Audio HEDDphone 2 is source picky, not only with what you pair it with for power, but also with sound quality and presentation. I found that more cold, analytical leaning sources really were not very pleasurable at all with the HEDDphone 2. Something that had some more warmth to it and a little bit of body brought out a more pleasurable experience. Something like an Aune S9C Pro and S17 was more enjoyable than the Mytek Liberty DAC 2 and HPA, for example. Before we get into the sound presentation of the Head Audio HEDDphone 2, I do want to mention that I am not a professional sound engineer, producer, musician, or vocalist. I have not done any scientific research, measurements, or in-depth testing of any kind. All I have done is my own listening and comparing and using of the gear that I have available to me. I have very limited real-life experience with recording, mixing, and mastering gear. I have been involved since I was a teenager with over 30 years now of experience with various churches as an amateur sound technician, but I am not a professional and I do not claim to be one. I am an amateur. Please take these thoughts, opinions, and reasonings as just that, my honest audiophile thoughts, opinions, and reasonings. All right, so how do the Head Audio HEDDphone 2 sound? So the bass of the HEDDphone 2 is very, what would I say, close to linear and very lightweight. It does not have a lot of impact, a lot of slam, and it also does not have much rumble and grumble or texture. It's very much about the details and the quality than it is about the quantity, and it does not have a good balance between quality and quantity, in my opinion. It's very lightweight, very slight impact and slam and punch. When in the sub bass, you really do not get any rumble and grumble whatsoever. And then in the mid bass and in the upper bass, there's just enough rumble and grumble, but it really doesn't have any authority. It doesn't really have any power. The bass lacks body and fullness. It does not have a lot of impact and slam at all. It is about the details, about the details, about the details, and about the resolution of those details. You get a lot of details, you get a lot of information, and it's resolved very well, but unfortunately it just does not have very good body, authority, and just impact and slam, punch, kick, all that kind of stuff that you want. In the mids also are like the bass. It's just not very engaging. It does not have a lot of note weight. It is very lightweight, airy type of presentation. The upper mid-range is elevated, and it has a tendency to be a little bit more on the aggressive and forthright side of things. And unfortunately, the mids just do not have that body to give that naturalism and emotional connection. And like the bass, it is all about the details, all about the details, all about the details, and the quality and the resolution. It doesn't have a lot of note weight and just body and fullness to the sound. And so things sound thin and at times can sound a little bit unnatural and artificial sounding. Does not have the best tone and timbre. And then the treble extends nicely and you have some good air and space. But unfortunately, like the bass and the mids, the tonality is lacking. It does not have body. It does not have a fullness and an emotional connection. And it's just kind of a light, airy type of presentation. And the lower treble regions are a little bit more forward and can be a bit intense and forthright. Unfortunately, that lightweight sound just at times sounds unnatural and artificial, and tone and timbre is not the best. So if you really want all the details and just the details and the resolution in the bass, the mids, and the treble, HEDDphone 2 may be what you're looking for. But if you're looking for a more natural, true representation of tone and timbre, HEDDphone 2 may not be quite what you're looking for. Soundstage of the HEDDphone 2, though, on the other hand, is very nice. You get a nice width to things. It shows very small, medium, large, and grand type of presentations. Now, it's not the largest sounding stage available, but it does a good job of portraying differences in venues, and also does a very good job of panning things from right to left and left to right and following things along in the stage. And if things move from one side to the other, or if they change positions or move, you can follow it very well. It's very laser pointed, locked on. You can go whoop, it's right there, and follow all the way through the whole track. You can do a very good job with that. Layering also is very nice. Everything has its own little space, and it is isolated and separated out, and you can dissect the stage very well with the HEDDphone Two. I was rather impressed by its abilities with imaging and layering and depth, and also with its width. It's a very, very good stage in that regard. As far as detail retrieval, phenomenal. You're not going to miss anything. In fact, you're probably going to hear some stuff and go, wow, I have not heard that before. You rarely ever hear that in a track. It is going to unturn every little, it's going to turn over every little stone and pick out every little detail. There's all kinds of information there. And it also does a really good job of resolving that information. Unfortunately, it presents it in a very forthright and intense type of presentation. Everything is kind of right here, and it's just very aggressive in its presentation of those details and resolution. And then tone and timbre. Unfortunately, the tone and timbre of the HEDDphone Two is not very natural, not very accurate, and it just has a very lightweight presentation, and at times can sound artificial. It has a bit of it lacks emotion, it lacks connection, it lacks body and fullness, and it just throws off the naturalism of instruments, and they just can sound a bit artificial. So the Head Audio HEDDphone Two, how does it compare to another headphone that I have? And I was listening, I was like, I don't have anything with AMT drivers. It doesn't really compare to some of these other headphones that I have. The only one that I have that I would use in this price point in a studio or for mixing and mastering and that type of stuff is the Audeze LCD-5. And so that's what I'm going to compare it to. The Audeze LCD-5. First, let's talk about the build of it. The LCD-5 is better built, way more comfortable, it's lighter, and it's just way more comfortable. I can wear the LCD-5 for hours upon hours with no discomfort. As far as the pickiness of amps, LCD-5 is somewhat source picky, but not near as source picky as the HEDDphone Two. And then sound presentation. The LCD-5 has better tone and timbre, sounds way more natural and accurate, and is not near as forthright and intense in its presentation. It has a more natural presentation. Detail retrieval is fairly similar. HEDDphone Two may edge it out just a little bit. Resolution wise, LCD-5 is a very similar to the HEDDphone Two. Again, HEDDphone Two may have just a slight edge when it comes to that. But as far as your note weight and your body, the LCD-5 has more of it and is just more natural and accurate sounding. The bass hits harder and has a more accurate presentation when it comes to authority and power. The mids have a more fullness, more connection to them, and sound more natural and accurate. And then the treble is more even and is not as intense in the lowers as the HEDDphone Two. Overall, I find that the LCD-5 is the more natural and accurate headphone, and also has a more natural enjoyment factor and connection with the music. You get an emotional connection. The HEDDphone Two is a headphone that is supposed to be neutral and for the studio, and unfortunately it's kind of like what everybody always says those headphones sound like, which is boring and lifeless. And neutral is not boring or lifeless. Neutral is like the LCD-5, and it has life to it, and it has enjoyment to it, and it has fullness to the sound. It's not just about the details and the quality like the HEDDphone Two. The HEDDphone Two is like eating steak tartare, but with cheap quality beef. And the Audeze LCD-5 is like eating a Wagyu steak. It's enjoyable, it's pleasurable, and it's tasty, and it has emotion and connection, and it's just better. Head Audio HEDDphone Two. It does the technicalities right, but it misses on the most important thing: emotion and naturalism. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on screen, subscription links and notification bells. If you haven't already, please check those off, and don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video, and check out all the links down below. There's all kinds of information down there regarding how you can contact channel, follow channel, support channel. All that kind of stuff is listed down below. And if you're interested in supporting the channel, I want to thank my supporters through Patreon and YouTube memberships. Thank you very much for all that you give to the channel. It's much appreciated. If you're interested in supporting the channel, you can do it through one-time gifts with PayPal, Venmo, and YouTube, or you can do monthly subscriptions through Patreon and YouTube memberships, where you can get early access to videos and also access to my private Discord server. All you have to do is ask. The other information that is listed down below is gear recommendations, music recommendations, and all kinds of other things. So check out the links down below. And lastly, don't forget to enjoy the music, and that honesty is the best policy.